The 619th edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog is giving away $15 million in Best Ball Mania 5. Sign up today with promo code MMA SGPN to claim your first-time deposit offer of up to $250 in bonus cash. That's UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code MMA SGPN. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. Rhythm has the best AI picks and projections, and their college football models are almost live. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Howdy ho, degenerinos. Welcome to episode 619 of the MMA Gambling Podcast and the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, dedicated to Modestus Bukauskas. My co-host insists that I dedicate the episode to him because he wants a reason to brag before we jump into what the episode's really about. So this goes out to you, Baltic Gladiator, who has a very surprising accent when you hear him interviewed. Thanks for coming to the show. I'm one of your hosts. I'm back to being Chalks. I'm Jeff Chalks Fox. After a chalky weekend, and not all the chalk came through. This, as you've already know by the title of the episode, this is a PFL episode, aka Muhammad Mokayev's next home, and we're doing the playoffs. PFL 7. There actually was quite
dedicated to Mokayev.
This is to Muhammad Mokayev, who got fired on live TV last night. This actually, we'll talk more UFC come Wednesday because boring event, but quite a few interesting things actually to talk about. And yes, Gumby beat me again, but yes, I'm ahead of him in every other metric for the year. But anyhow, this is PFL 7. It's playoff time. 2024 playoffs are going down this weekend in Nashville, Tennessee. So, of course, we are obligated, not just obligated, we want to break down the 4 playoff fights, and then Gumby's got a extra fight to add on there, and then he's going to have some bonus picks, I'm sure, on top of that as well. Can't wait to hear him justify fading Dakota Ditcheva once again. So, I'm sure we'll get to that. I'm sure we'll get to that soon enough. Speaking of Gumby, you just heard the voice. He's the man with the banana hat on his head. It's the one and only Danny Gumby Vreeland. And why did I have to dedicate this to Modestus Bukauskas other than he's a friendly fellow?
18-1 submission prop that I mentioned on this show. I mentioned it on the big SGPN show. And not only did he get it, he got it in like dramatic fashion with like 2 minutes left in the arm triangle. It's his first submission since the second to last time he was the Cage Warriors light heavyweight champion, and he got a rear naked choke. I want to say he was like a 6-fight professional at that time. And he went back to his submission game for the first time in a long time, got that arm triangle, hit us 18-1. And then also I got to recap the regional action that we had last weekend too, because we did 3 regional shows.
Sorry to interrupt, but didn't you do better than that with Bukauskas? Didn't you ladder him up? Didn't you have a whole bunch?
I had money line inside the distance and the submission prop, but like the submission prop 18-1 is really the crown jewel there. I mean, we could brag about the other pieces too if we want, but
hey, look, it's a dog.
He looks like he's ready to make some
be on the
underdog.
Camera. There she is.
It's gonna be some underdog picks here. Yeah,
underdog episode. Yeah. So Gumby, and you were on the Bosses show, and Bukauskas was a ladder play there. So you are really looking good today.
Yeah, the bosses were happy. I also gave out Bilal Muhammad on that show too, which didn't look bad. And then as far as the regional plays, we were 11-3 this past weekend, including a perfect 4-0 on, was it CFFC? CFFC. That we did last week, and with that 11-3 overall record, we're up about 3.5 units, bringing us to a 16-unit profit on the year on non-UFC MMA.
Fantastic. Yeah, I didn't see any snarky comments on our YouTube channel, so I assume you must have done well with your picks.
It was pretty good. And I was actually shocked that one of the ones I did the worst on was the UAE Warriors. I actually took two of my three losses on the UAE Warriors. That video did 1.1 thousand views. So thank you to everybody who watched our UAE Warriors show. That was maybe our most watched show in history. So thank you for that. And also, while we're here, make sure you subscribe to the MMA Gambling Podcast. Feel free to turn off notifications if they bother you, because we have had a really nice bump lately, and we would like that to continue.
Yes, thank you, everyone. All 700 and what were we at today? 729 or something?
779.
Yeah, that's right. So, which I know if it doesn't sound like a lot when people have billions, but yeah, it's a lot for a niche sport who just started a YouTube channel. So yes, thank you, everyone. Each and every one of you, even the ones that get mad at Gumby for chasing dogs once in a while. But, hey, it's 11-3, it comes through, right? So what are you on the year now? You're up about 3.5 over the weekend, but
3.5 over the weekend, 16 total is where we're at for the year. And a lot of that was we did hit one really nice plus 200 underdog. Gustavo Villamil looked pretty damn good in his fight. And he was actually, he had gotten bet up to being a favorite by the time we actually got to fight time, which was insane. But when it posted, me and a couple of the guys in the Discord jumped on that plus 200. So another good reason to be in the Discord.
Fantastic. All right, let me tell you about the main podcast. We just talked about the mothership with Sean and Ryan. The Sports Gambling Podcast just launched the 32-team NFL 30. Let's try this again. Sports Gambling Podcast launched the 32 NFL team previews, and as a bonus, each team preview will include a code word. Submit the 32 code word phrase, and you could be the lucky winner who gets a $500 NFL Circa future bet. That's a fun little contest. Well, we should do something like that at some point. Our phrase would be something ridiculous that no one would understand other than listeners. So actually it would be good. So make sure you listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcast and the SGPN app. And of course on YouTube, keep the whole SGPN train rolling. All right. We're jumping into PFL 7 after the preamble that everyone loves before we start things off. PFL 7 2024 playoffs going down August 2nd. Always have to check the day of the week because it's always fluctuating. This is a Friday night event. Nashville, Tennessee is the place. 6 p.m. Eastern time is the start time for the prelim portion of the card. This week is women's flyweight, as I foreshadowed at the beginning of the show, and men's heavyweight. So it's semifinals. So we got 4 tournament fights there. And then we were kicking things off with a heavyweight fight, a feature fight, we can call it. It makes it seem fancier than it really is.
I actually think it's a it's a fill-in fight, like it's a reserve fight. Yeah, right. I think they put these 2 in a reserve fight.
Yes. All right. In case anyone gets hurt, which tends to happen. The tournaments like this, we're going to hear from some people who just stepped into the tournament and now they're like 2 steps away from $1 million. So it happens. All right. The fight we were dancing around would be Tyrell Fortune. There's another one named something different, but this one's Tyrell. He's from the United States of America versus Sergey Bilostenniy. Is that right? Bilostenniy? Yep. From Russia, yeah. Mother Bilostenniy. From Brother Russia. Boy, it's going to be a good episode. All right. So I'll remember it rhymes with colostomy. That's how I'm going to remember, okay?
There you go. Rhymes with colostomy.
Rhymes with colostomy. Do you, have you seen the odds, Gummy? There is odds.
I have.
Boo. Ruin our fun. All right. In that case, let's tell you the Fortune's the dog. We'll start with him first. Fortune is 14-2 with 2 no contests, 8 knockouts, 1 submission. He's been knocked out once. So durable for a heavyweight for sure. That's almost 20 fights. 1 no PFL. He's won 2 straight, and he's gone 3-0 with 1 no contest over his last 4. He's not lost since November 2021. 13-2 with 2 no contests in Bellator. These 2 men have fought before. This is a rematch. Fortune won via disqualification, punches to the back of his head. That was back in April of 2023. An inch height, 2 inches reach over Bilostenniy plus 145. Bilostenniy 12-3 with 8 knockouts. He's been submitted twice. 1-0 in PFL. He's won 2 straight and 7 of 8. 1-1 in Bellator. 5 years younger than Fortune. Minus 175.
I'm going to go with the favorite Bilostenniy in this fight. I think for me, I just think the trajectory of that first fight before the illegal blows happened, I think it was beginning to favor Bilostenniy here. And, Fortune's kind of a guy who, if you track his career wise, it's pretty much like get that takedown or, get worked on the feet. That's pretty much what I've seen from him. Obviously, he did well against Marcelo Gome, who I just would pretty much fade at any price, at any fight right at this point, because he looks pretty bad. But for Fortune, he looked all right in that fight, but it was, again, low-level competition. Bilostenniy, I just think is going to be so much faster on the feet. You see that Russian name. Sometimes you assume he's a wrestler. He's going to want to keep this one on the feet here. He's going to rip the legs. And I actually do think his takedown defense is good enough. But in addition to his takedown defense being good enough, I like how fast he moves. I think he's going to get in and out of range and just make any shot that Fortune has kind of be a desperation or from too far away shot. And then when he stuffs that, he's going to punish him on the feet. So as long as he doesn't land the illegal blows to the back of the head again, I think you go with Bilostenniy. I think he wins this one.
It actually was a rare DQ. Usually, you just get a bunch of warnings. You get told, please
you
don't.
Can take a guy's pants off if you want.
Apparently. Don't make the ref. What was the line? Don't make me enforce the rules. Is that what he said for real? There's a lot of chaos, so I didn't get to hear it, but I know someone in the Discord said that. That is a direct quote.
He pointed directly in Mokayev's face and said, "Don't make me enforce the rules." Dude, you had his pants off. I know this should not be a Muhammad Mokayev episode.
Boy, what a fight!
He took his pants off. He literally took Manel Cape's pants off. His butt was on ESPN. And the referee said, "Don't make me enforce this rule." I feel so bad that we're discussing this when we should be discussing Tyrell Fortune's chances as an underdog.
Don't you make me do my job, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, well, we don't want to do our job either, so we're going to talk about other things rather than pick fights, right? All right, so Colostomy is the pick. Ryan's with Colostomy is the pick here. Someone in the Discord insisted they wanted the whole episode named that, but this is not a UFC episode. So, anyhow, all right. We went chalk. Let's see if we're going dog or chalk. And the next one, it is a women's flyweight bout. A couple of familiar names here. Taila, Santos, Brazil, Liz Carmouche, United States of America, 3 5-minute rounds. A rare non-rematch for Carmouche. Usually she has rematches, people. Carmouche would be the gorilla. She is 22-7, 9 knockouts, 6 submissions. She's been submitted twice, 2-0 in PFL. It's part of a 9-fight winning streak. She won her last fight via submission. Has not lost since August 2019. 7-0 in Bellator, champion there. 5-5 in the UFC. 2-0 in Invicta. Used to fight at bantamweight. 2-2 in Strikeforce. 2010 pro MMA debut. 0-0-2 as a pro grappler. Plus 170. Santos 21-3, 10 knockouts, 4 submissions. Never been finished in a fight. 2-0 in PFL. She's won 2 straight. Before that, she had lost 2 straight. She went 4-3 in the UFC. 1-0 on Contender Series. Was regional champion. Used to fight at bantamweight. 2013 pro MMA debut, 9 years younger than Carmouche, 2 inches of reach, minus 210. So pretty sizable favorite here.
Yeah, and I'm going with Taila Santos. And originally I actually thought this line would be a little bit wider because while Liz Carmouche kind of has the name value in this fight, and you might expect that to draw a little bit of it, she also was losing that fight to Kana Watanabe. And if she did not pull off an armbar in the dying seconds of that fight, Kana Watanabe would be in this spot and not her. She was going to miss the playoffs due to a loss to Kana Watanabe, and largely because Watanabe was forcing her to grapple. Watanabe was putting her on her back. And if that's happening in a fight with her, what's going to happen in a fight with Taila Santos? Taila Santos, even better at bullying her opponents and taking them down. I mean, notably, she bullied Valentina Shevchenko for a little while. And did similarly to Jena Bishop in her last fight. I just don't think Liz Carmouche is going to deal with that heavy pressure, and she's certainly not going to bail herself out with an armbar against Taila Santos. Then on top of that, if Santos chooses to keep this fighting, man, I think she's going to light up Carmouche. Negative 210, not even close to the right number I would have put on this. I have Santos, upwards of negative 300 in this fight, probably. I thought it was going to post in a reasonable range, but I wouldn't be surprised if this got absolutely out of hand. Give me Taila Santos at negative 210 all day.
Fantastic. He finds value in the negative 210. So there you go. All right. Before we move on, we promised you it was going to be a dog episode. We have a dog on the camera. Gumby hasn't picked any dogs. So we're going to tell you about Underdog Fantasy. That's something. Underdog Fantasy just launched Underdog Streaks. Hit your first 2 pick'em entries, and then you go streaking. If you can get to 11-0, if you get a 11-0 run or 2 11-0, that works too. You can win 1,000 times your money. That's a lot of times. Plus, Best Ball Media is live with $15 million in prizes. You can now use specials and boosts on all flex entries. Gumby, putting you on the spot. Do you have a pick?
Do I have a pick?
I have a pick.
Man, I'm trying to think.
How about Olympics? Have you followed the Olympics at all?
Hell no. Sorry, I'm not an Olympics dude. But I mean, we'll stick with Old Faithful. The Braves are heading to Milwaukee on Monday, and since they're going to be heading to Milwaukee, you could go ahead and take the higher on Jackson Chirinos' total bases. And I'm not saying that is a total fade of the Atlanta Braves in their current status, but they are starting Grant Holmes, who rocks one of the best haircuts in all of Major League Baseball. And I think that's going to open it up. It's probably going to be a bullpen day. That's going to open it up for Chirino, and he'll probably rack up the hits.
I told Gumby I was going to grow my hair like that, man. Gumby thought I was joking. You think I can't do it, but I can do it. My hair still grows back there. It's the top where it doesn't grow. But anyhow, yeah, check out Holmes if you haven't seen him yet. Check him out. He's a throwback for sure. And make that pick. Sign up with our code on Underdog Fantasy. It would be MMA SGPN to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code MMA SGPN. New sponsor. We should have, if we had high production values, we would have like alarms going off and stuff. But Odds Jam. Odds Jam is your one-stop shop for beating the sportsbook. Plural. Odds Jam uses millions of data points across every U.S. and Canadian, yes, that's me, sportsbook to show you the best value plays for your money. Their line shopping tool shows you the best price for any bet you want to make across countless sportsbooks, not just DraftKings and FanDuel, but even BetOnline, Bovada, Cut, and many more. Their arbitrage tool will find opportunities where you can bet both sides of the same prop on different sportsbooks to guarantee a positive ROI. The new fantasy tool features the highest EV plays relative to the sportsbook's odds, allowing you to crush sites like Underdog Fantasy. Hey, they're a sponsor. We don't want to crush them, do we? They even have a tool for finding the best sign-up bonuses. If you're interested in trying out OzJam, you can get a 7-day free trial using my link below, Gumby's link as well. We'll share it. And don't forget to enter promo code SGPN to get 35% off the first month of your subscription. OzJam.com, promo code SGPN. That would be the promo code below that you need to enter. All right. Thank you, OzJam, for jumping aboard. I don't agree with crushing Underdog Fantasy because then they won't be able to sponsor us if they've been crushed. So
we've been crushing them with our picks, though.
It's true, but don't tell them. Don't tell them. I guess enough people don't pay attention to us and make their own picks and get themselves crushed. 14 leg safe, super safe plays is what people are all into. All right, we're going to heavyweights. Now we're going to switch back and forth on this main card. This is the heavyweight semifinals. Oleg, Popov, Russia, Linton, Vassell, the UK, 3 5-minute rounds, 265 if they want to get that heavy. We'll tell you about the big swarm first, Linton Vassell. He used to be the swarm. I guess now that he is a heavyweight, he has added the big part to it. He's 25-9 with 1 no contest, 10 knockouts, 9 submissions. He's been knocked out 5 times, submitted once, 1-1 in PFL, 6-1 over his last 7, including winning his last fight. He went 12-5 in Bellator. He has multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. The shirt, sportsgamblingplugins.com/store. Get sticky with it. 205 is where he predominantly fought until the past few years. 2008 pro MMA debut, 3 inches height, 4 inches of reach over Popov, despite being a former light heavyweight, plus 200. Popov, 18-1, 9 knockouts, 3 submissions, never been finished in a fight. 2-0 in PFL. He's won 16 straight fights. He's not lost since November 2016. 1-0 in Bellator, 9 years younger than Vassell, 14 pounds heavier based on their last weigh-ins, minus 260. Will the Russians continue to dominate in the PFL heavyweight?
Yeah, I actually faded Oleg Popov in the last fight. I think his wrestling's a little bit overrated, and I think he really lucked out in this fight that Linton Vassell is the guy stepping in instead of somebody else. And the biggest piece for me is that Vassell in his last fight, I mean, just like the gas tank didn't look good. Yes, he wound up winning. I cashed as a dog on Linton Vassell last time, but like, I just don't know that he can keep it going for 15 minutes against Oleg Popov. Popov has enough of a wrestling game that Vassell, he'll get zapped early in the fight. And I actually don't even think Popov has the most suffocating grappling of some of these people in the PFL, particularly the guy he was supposed to fight instead. But like, I do think that it's enough to kind of tax Vassell here and sort of make it so Vassell is not going to have a lot on him. I also don't think he's going to switch the positions as much as he did in his last fight. That ultimately saved Linton Vassell, that he was able to just, sort of turn positions around on his opponent. And I don't think that's true about Popov. He's a little bit safer in that way. So, I don't necessarily love the negative 260 because, as I said, I don't really love Oleg Popov. I don't think he's all that in a bag of chips, if you will. But I do like him enough to take Vassell here.
There's a throwback line from a young guy, Gumby. All right. Who's the chalky one here? I thought I was supposed to be the chalky one here. Let's see if oh, here we go. He's
I'm not in the next one.
He's gonna make a hate pick because this poor girl, she's done nothing wrong. Yeah, Gumby hates Dakota Ditcheva.
Hey.
It's not her fault. It's not her fault that she's getting nice matchups.
She actually
Dakota
seems
Ditcheva,
like a lovely lady. She seems like a lovely lady.
She is the it girl in PFL, and maybe she's had some friendly matchmaking, but perhaps it stops here. Dakota Ditcheva from England, 12-0. This is the women's flyweight co-main event, by the way, semifinals as well, versus Jena Bishop from the United States of America. 3 5-minute rounds if they need it. Tell you about Gumby's pick first. Bishop, 7-1 with 4 submissions. Never been finished in a fight. 1-1 in PFL. Did lose her last fight. She had enough points to get herself into this semifinal matchup. 2-0 in Bellator. 9-5 as pro grappler and champion there. I think she is the world champion amateur jiu-jitsu as well, at some level, or a champion at some level. Plus 550. Boy, Gumby's gonna go after Big Dog and probably get a lot of people angry. Dangerous Dakota Ditcheva. Triple D is 12-0, 10 knockouts, 1 submission. 7-0 in PFL and the European PFL Europe, I guess it's called PFL Europe champion. 7 straight fights she's won via finish. Used to fight at bantamweight, a gold medalist, world champion in Muay Thai. 10-1 as a professional Muay Thai practitioner. 12 years younger than Bishop. 4 inches taller, 4 inches of reach. Minus 800. Other than the line being skewed and you think Ditcheva is being given favorable matchups and she's overrated, why are you taking Jena Bishop here?
Can she wrestle against Jena Bishop? Like, Jena Bishop is an insanely good grappler. And, like, not for anything, Jena Bishop held her own in there with Taila Santos. I don't think anybody was fooled into thinking she was going to win the decision when it went to the cards. But it was not a one-sided beatdown where you're like, oh, she doesn't belong in this cage. There were moments in that fight where you're like, damn, Bishop's like in this right now. And when you have somebody who's gone toe-to-toe with somebody at the very top of the game, right? Because not for anything, Taila Santos was a whisker away from being the women's women's flyweight champion of the UFC. And Jena Bishop went toe-to-toe with her and put in 3 hard rounds. And then you got Dakota Ditcheva, whose toughest fight to date has been Chelsea Hackett. And I don't say that in shooting down Chelsea Hackett. I actually said that Chelsea Hackett was far better than most people were giving her credit for. But Chelsea Hackett is a undersized kickboxer for this division. And that's the toughest thing Dakota Ditcheva has fought. I don't think she's fought anybody who can take her down. I think that changes today, or this weekend, this Friday. Jena Bishop is going to take her down. And I think we're going to see what she's made of on the mat. But how many times are you given somebody who can wrestle and grapple with the best of them at flyweight up against a kickboxer who's never faced a wrestler, and you can get 550? Like, I think it's irresponsible to think that there isn't value on the Jena Bishop side, right? It's like you can get somebody who can wrestle that good against somebody who's never faced a wrestler, and you can get over 5-1 odds. I mean, like, for me, Jena Bishop's grappling is at least intriguing enough to pull the trigger there.
Yeah, it's worth a shot at 550 to see if she can wrestle or not, right? And if she can, boom, you've got yourself a big hit. All right, before we finish up with the main event and lightning round, let me tell you about Rhythm. If you're not checking out the AI picks and props from Rhythm, you're missing out. They just predicted a bunch of winners for the 3M Open, and their football models are about to drop. You can even customize your own betting models easily using Rhythm's tools. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. That's the important part, the spelling, RITHMM. Circus Sports is back with Circus Survivor and Circa Millions, giving away $16 million in guaranteed prizes. Imagine the regret you'll feel if you win your office survivor pool but didn't enter the Circa Survivor. Don't have a trip booked for Las Vegas yet before football? Ultimate Contest Weekend is a great time to go out and hang with our bosses, Ryan and Sean. Tell them how great Gumby and Chalks are. I think they know, but just remind them. And enjoy some of the open bar events at the greatest sportsbook in the world, August 22nd through the 24th. Use promo code SGP15 to save 15% off on your hotel room for sign-up weekend. Sign-up is in person at Circa Sports between now and September 7th, and use a proxy to play from anywhere. We even have a deal with footballcontestproxy.com to save you $50 with promo code SGP. I might have said that wrong, but you sign up in person at Circa Sports between now and September 7th, and then you use the proxy. Got it? Footballcontestproxy.com. SGP is your code. All right, main event is a heavyweight fight. A heavyweight fight with a Russian in it. Go figure. That would be Denis Goltsov from Russia versus Tim Johnson. 3 5-minute rounds if they need it. We're all for the sloppy heavyweight overs. Johnson, 18-9, 10 knockouts, 3 submissions. He's been knocked out 5 times, submitted once, 1 no in PFL. He's won 3 straight. Before that, he had lost 3 straight. 2 straight wins of his have come via TKO. He's not lost since April 2022. 4-5 in Bellator, 4-3 in the UFC. Regional champion, 2010 pro MMA debut. Based on the last weigh-ins, he was 23 pounds heavier than Goltsov. Not sure if all that weight is good weight, but nonetheless, plus 325. Goltsov is, of course, the Russian Bogatyr. He's 34-8, 17 knockouts, 11 submissions. He's been knocked out 4 times, submitted 3 times. 12-3 in PFL. He's won 2 straight and 7 of 8. His last 2 have come via TKO. He's got multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct, the shirt, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. He also has multiple Sambo World Championships on his mantle. He does not have the $1 million PFL championship. He's come close in the past, but he has never won it. 2010 was his pro MMA debut. 5 years younger than Johnson, 2 inches taller, minus 425. Another big line here.
And another one I'm going to swing on. I'm going to take Tim Johnson. And here's why. Tim Johnson's hands, super underrated. Tim Johnson throws with incredible power. I mean, he knocked his last opponent out twice. Once he took the dick kick in the middle of the knockout punch, and they had to just reset the fight, which was, I mean, a lot of fun. But then, he went back after it and he's thrown big bombs, and not for anything. I know the losing streak that he had a little while ago in his career was super concerning. But outside of that, he's always been a guy who has kind of underrated wrestling because he comes from the Midwest. And when he chooses to use it offensively, it's good. When he chooses to use it defensively and let his hands fly, it's good. And he's going to be fighting Goltsov, who, Goltsov, you're right. He has 2 back-to-back wins by TKO, both of them against light heavyweights. Thiago Santos and the aforementioned Linton Vassell as he moved up. And then you follow that up with the fight before that, when he fought an actual heavyweight with big power in his hands, Renan Faria, and Renan Faria slept him. And, I know the run goes back longer and he's got good sambo and takedowns and stuff like that. And I certainly think there's a reason he's the favorite here, especially when you consider the layoffs that Tim Johnson has faced and kind of all that's gone along with that. But I do think Tim Johnson is a live dog here with big hands. And with the fact that, you can get him, what'd you say, 325? He's better than that's way better than, he's got a better chance than a plus 325 chance. So I'm going to take a swing on both him and Jenna Bishop here. Little tiny plays here. And I mean, if one of them hits, makes your whole night.
Yeah. And people are going to be really angry about this, but Johnson's got a good mustache coming. So it's worthy.
It's a phenomenal mustache.
I've been
thinking about just leaving mine mustache.
You should. You're getting grizzly right now.
Yeah. If you've been listening to the show long enough, comment in the section and tell me whether or not we should just go mustache, because my wife seems to think it'd be a good idea.
Oh my gosh, really? Hip. I guess that's what you hip young people do. Yeah, and if you're even better if you're on YouTube, then you should comment. You shouldn't comment on if you're just listening. You should actually have to see.
Oh yeah,
like right now. All right. He finished with some dogs. Let's see if we got a lightning round too. I'll tell you his picks before we get to that. He's got Johnson. He's got Bishop. He's got Popov. He's got Santos. He's got Bilostenniy. My little colostomy thing worked for me. It works. Whatever works. Lightning round. Zap, bang, boom. Gumby. Do we have any lightning round picks? It's not a huge card, unless they're going to add some fights after the fact. We've only got, 10 fights on the card? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty short card. But I do have 2 that I really like. I'm going to start with Sergey Ocasio. He had a phenomenal fight with Anthony Romero that he looked just insanely good in that fight. I had pretty much counted him out as being not in the same realm as Anthony Romero in that fight. And not only was he in the same realm, man, he took it to him. And then I saw his number only got posted at -210 here. I think he got to step down in competition if possible. So yeah, I'm all over Sergio Ocasio. And then the other one I got is Anthony Ivy. Again, I know he became kind of like a meme fighter in the UFC, and everybody was like, oh man, this guy looks terrible. And then he even, I think, lost his first fight back in Fury when he moved back to Fury. But he's put together a pretty nice run. And the thing I've always liked about Anthony Ivy is that Aquaman has got an insanely good ground game. You go to the mat with him, he's tricky. He can get you from the bottom. He's got great sweeps and stuff like that. So, I think he's got a good chance of maybe making that work. And I saw his number. What did I write it down at? Plus 180, so like he's certainly worth a dabble too. So I'll give you a decent favorite to use in a parlay there, and pretty nice sized dog.
You misspoke earlier. You said it's a short card. It will not be a short card. It's PFL.
Oh no,
it will be a very long night.
We got
a long night.
Hear
short
more.
Card, long night.
We got to hear more about the smart cage. Randy Couture is going to make some really questionable judges' decisions. It's all that good stuff.
Yeah. But we still love PFL because they bring in the viewers and listeners for us. So, hey, we love you. All right. That's it for us, ladies and gentlemen. I would be remiss. Yes. Superfan Jong, that is a Nintendo GameCube behind me. I know you're into the retro games. And a PS2 Slim, I believe. Maybe PS1. Anyhow, that's just some of my son's old video game systems. They're all over the house. Thanks for coming to the show. Subscribe on YouTube, and you can see some of these systems as well. Maybe you even see a dog once in a while in the videos. That would be MMA Gambling Podcast, of course. And get all your spouses to subscribe as well, secretly, like our friend Chad does. What else? YouTube. Where else are we, Gumby? We're on the Twitter, right? We're at SGPN MMA. He's Gumby Vreeland. I'm Jeff Fox Writer there, and on Instagram. Of course, Discord, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. It's always jump in, especially on fight nights. I can't even keep up. There's so many people chatting in there, so make sure you get in there. And the weird people tend to get weeded out and leave before they do any damage. So you'll enjoy it. It's a safe space. Gumby has another podcast. It's called Top Turtle MMA. We'll talk more about that in the coming days, but you can catch that midweek every week. I've got a Substack, moneymma.substack.com. I started publishing my stats that I like to quote on the UFC episodes, the career, like the stats I've been tracking for 3 years, almost 4 years, 2,000 plus fights, all that stuff I published on my Substack, moneymma.substack.com. Grab a subscription there. At the very least, you can enter my free UFC pick'em every week. With that, I told you about Gummy's podcast. And of course, the mothership is sportsgamblingpodcast.com, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. So you can get some swag, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon to get some bonus content. We'll be back tomorrow. The Big Swarm, Jeff Fox, Gorilla, Gumby Vreeland, LFA tomorrow. See ya.